the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rob Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Second ID welcomes civil society fact-finding missions in Abra de Ilog. 10 former violent extremists surrender in Maguindanao del Sur. NFA to release rice stocks ahead of harvest season. DepEd pushes regional collaboration for AI-ready ASEAN. Battalion's headquarters, Dato Saudi Ampatuan. During the said surrender, the 10 FBEs also yielded 10 high-powered firearms, including 2 60mm mortars. In a statement, 90 IB Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Lucky O. Marco said the former violent extremists realized that they had no real future in the armed struggle. That is why they choose to embrace peace. Meanwhile, they were formally presented to Brigadier General Edgar L. Catu, commander of the 601st Brigade, and received cash assistance, livelihood support, and rice from MPOS BARM and the local government of Sharif Agua. Dato Saudi Ampatuan, Dato Unsay, Dato Hofer, and Dato Abdullah Sangki as part of their reintegration into the community.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And now let us hear some information from Joanne about Northern Luzon Command and TRACOM strengthen professional ties. Joanne?
The commander of the Northern Luzon Command, Lieutenant General Aristotle D. Gonzalez, Philippine Air Force, together with the command staff, welcomed Major General Michael G. Lohico, Philippine Army, Commander of the Training and Doctrine Command, Philippine Army, during a courtesy visit at NOLCOM Headquarters, Camp Aquino, San Miguel, Tarlac City on February 10. The visit reaffirmed the strong professional relationship between Northern Luzon Command and Training and Doctrine Command and provided a venue for discussions on training, doctrine development, and force readiness. Exchanges focused on NOLCOM's strategic posture in securing Northern Luzon and its campaign of deterrence, highlighting the integration of joint interagency and combined efforts to prevent threats, maintain stability, and safeguard territorial integrity. Both commands emphasized the importance of close coordination to ensure the training programs remain responsive to operational requirements and aligned toward building a more capable, adaptive, and mission-ready force. This is John Sagao reporting for AFP Community News, One AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Joanne.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And troops from the Charlie Conqueror Company of the 39th Infantry Battalion conducted an information awareness campaign under Oplan Mulat at Tilafas National High School in Barangay Tilafas, Colombia, Sultan Kudarat. The said awareness campaign focused on the West Philippine Sea, the gatekeeping mechanism related to the communist terrorist group youth infiltration. The said activity featured an audio-visual presentation on the WPS, a discussion on CTG youth infiltration, and a talk on patriotism and nationalism delivered by youth advocate 2nd Lieutenant John Angelo T. Arambolo. The initiative underscores the sustained commitment of Charlie Company to youth development, community engagement, and the protection of national sovereignty.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And the 101st Infantry 3 Red Arrows Brigade supported the Mindanao State University Malabang Community High School in conducting a seminar and lecture on the role of the Armed Forces of the Philippines in disaster risk reduction and management. The activity, with the theme DRRM in Action, working together to build a disaster resilient community, was attended by grade 11 General Academic Strand senior high school students as part of their second semester course subject. This focuses on disaster readiness, risk reduction, and community safety. During the seminar, students were given different learning activities such as a video presentation and lecture on the West Philippine Sea, preventing and countering radicalization and violent extremism, and communist terrorist group, view various military equipment through static displays, and an information drive on Philippine Army recruitment. Meanwhile, the activity aimed to equip students on disaster response and learn the importance of cooperation among agencies in keeping communities safe and prepared during the emergencies.
DWDD Armed Forces News. Armed Forces Radio.
From Meljoy, more updates about 5th Infantry Division sends of 37 new lieutenants to the field. Meljoy?
Yes, good afternoon. The 5th Infantry Star Division sent off 37 newly commissioned second lieutenants, 34 men and 3 women during a send-off ceremony held at the 5th Infantry Division Covered Court, marking the beginning of their service as leaders in the field. Shaped by the Millennium Program, the new lieutenants now step into roles that place them at the forefront of the 5th Infantry Division's external security operations across northern Luzon. Guided by the principle, "The change I want to see begins with me," the officers were challenged to lead by the example, especially in moments that demand courage and sound judgment. As they report to their respective units, the 37 new officers bring fresh energy and commitment to the 5th Infantry Division's external security operations, ready to serve, to lead, and to stand guard for the nation. This is Meldry Nesho Arroco reporting for AFP Community News. One AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Meljoy.
DWDD Armed Forces
And
News.
troops from the Alpha Company of the 39th Infantry Smashing Battalion participated in the conduct of services from school to community outreach program and a tree planting activity in Sitio Dariango, Barangay Sibulan, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur. Along with the troops were the Davao del Sur State College Supreme Student Council, together with the Union of Guardians of Mother Earth's Advocacy and Defense, Indigenous Students Organization, and the Students Alliance of Volunteers for Emergency Response and Services, or SAVERS, in coordination with the Youth for Peace Movement Santa Cruz chapter. The troops also provided free haircut services to residents, fostering personal hygiene and strengthening civil-military rapport. The activity aimed to provide essential services to the community while promoting environmental awareness, public health, and youth engagement.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And for our national news,
DWDD National News.
the National Food Authority will be releasing its aging rice stocks according to the Department of Agriculture. This is preparation for the country's palay harvest season. The Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. said that harvest season is coming, so they need to buy again from the new harvest at the right price. Releasing aging rice stocks will help free up spaces in warehouses nationwide in time for palay procurement beginning in March or April. NFA Administrator Larry Lacson said the agency has more than 2.7 million bags of palay, of which about 700,000 bags are for auction.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio Report.
On the other line, let us hear more from Jess about Southern Luzon Command, Quezon Province. SLSU launched Yes Inspired Youth Empowerment in Quezon Province. Jess?
Yes, good afternoon. A memorandum of agreement was officially signed on June 9, 2026 at the old Capitol building in Lucena City, marking the formal launch of the Youth Empowerment Strategy on the initiative of nurturing students' potential, innovation, responsibilities, and excellence. Yes Inspire program by the Southern Luzon Command, the Provincial Government of Quezon, and Southern Luzon State University. The MOA was signed by Lieutenant General Cirilio C. Balaoro Jr., Philippine Army, Commander of Southern Luzon Command, Quezon Governor Honorable Angelina Doctora Helen Tan, and SLSU President Frederick Villa, Doctor of Technology, signifying a strengthened partnership to empower the youth and develop future leaders in Quezon Province. Anchored on the stable internal peace and security SIPS Declaration 2023 and implemented through Joint Task Force Capit Basic Southern Luzon, the Yes Inspire program aims to nurture innovative, responsible, and socially engaged students capable of contributing to peace, development, and nation building. With the agreement, the Yes Inspire program is set to be institutionalized across Quezon Province, reinforcing collective efforts towards sustainable peace, inclusive development, and a future led by empowered and values-driven young leaders. This is Jess from SOCOM reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jess.
DWDD National News.
And a new maximum suggested retail price for imported rice may be released soon. Department of Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. said the new MSRP will factor international rice prices and timely exchange rates. He explained that for the new MSRP, they are now looking into the range and variety of rice as the Philippine peso weakened, while international costs vary. Chu Laurel said a reasonable price range should be between 46 to 48 pesos per kilo.
DWDD National News.
And the Department of Agriculture is crafting a measure for quantitative restrictions on rice importers to ensure support to local rice producers. The move comes as the agency awaits the enactment of the proposed Rice Industry and Consumer Empowerment or RICE Act. DA Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. said the quantitative restriction will help ensure local investments in the local rice industry. Chu Laurel added that they seek to roll out initial trials by July prior to its actual implementation by year-end for future import allocations.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio Report.
And now some information from Shira about Northern Luzon Naval Command Chief strengthens operational oversight during visit to units in Cagayan and Batanes. Shira?
Yes, good afternoon. Rear Admiral Richard N. Gonzaga, Philippine Navy Commander, Northern Luzon Naval Command, conducted his official visit to the command's operating units in Cagayan and Batanes Islands. The visit aimed to strengthen operational readiness, enhance command oversight, and directly engage with personnel stationed in the northernmost areas of the command's area of responsibility. While in the area, Rear Admiral Gonzaga paid courtesy calls on the key local government officials to reaffirm the Navy's partnership with local authorities. Among the key activities conducted were the rotation and reprovision, operations in Batanes, and the inspection of naval monitoring stations in both areas. During the talk to troops, the NLNC commander encouraged officers and enlisted personnel to remain united, disciplined, and mission-focused while ensuring the welfare and morale of naval personnel. This is Shai Rivera reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Shira.
DWDD National News.
And the National Housing Authority has broken ground for a 70 million peso housing project intended for families displaced by recent earthquakes in Cotabato. This marks the start of construction of the Kidapawan Resettlement Project in Sitio Calaucan, Barangay Paco, Quinapawan City. The project will consist of 67 duplex buildings or a total of 134 permanent housing units. The NHA said the resettlement site is expected to provide permanent shelter to families affected by the earthquakes who were not covered by previous housing interventions.
DWDD National News.
And around 7,000 working-class families are set to benefit under the expanded Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino or 4PH program. Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development Secretary Jose Ramon Aliling inspected the first batch of completed house and lot units in a subdivision-type socialized housing project in General Santos City. He said that they have not only expanded the coverage of beneficiaries but also the areas where they have projects across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Aliling then assured the public that more projects similar to this are lined up in the coming months.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
And now let us hear more updates from China about 89th Infantry Battalion strengthens community security efforts through dialogue with religious sector in Kibawe. China.
Yes, Jhai. The 89th Infantry Battalion conducted a lecture on the culture of security for the religious sector in Barangay Natulongan, Kibawe, Bukidnon as part of the Massive Awareness Campaign or MAC. The activity was led by 1st Lieutenant Marjon F. Prolamante and 2nd Lieutenant Carl Brian B. Andaya, with around 166 zone leaders attending under the guidance of Paris Priest, Reverend Father Noel Laguna. The lecture emphasized community vigilance, responsible information sharing, and the important role of religious leaders in promoting unity and countering misinformation. Through the initiative, the Philippine Army strengthens its partnership with the faith-based organizations in fostering peace, stability, and resilience communities in the area. This is Shane Araneta reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, China.
DWDD National News.
And the House of Representatives sitting in plenary overwhelmingly upheld the dismissal of 2 impeachment complaints against President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for being insufficient in substance. Voting 284 over 80 with 4 absent stations, lawmakers adopted House Resolution 746 and approved the findings, conclusions, and recommendations contained in Committee Report 111 of the House Committee on Justice. Deputy Speaker Janet Garin declared the impeachment complaints filed against the dismissed after the votes were counted. In her sportsmanship speech, Batangas Representative Jervil Luistro then explained that Justice Panel found both the De Jesus and Damasa et al. Complaints fundamentally insufficient in substance for failing to meet the requirement that impeachment complaints must allege ultimate facts.
DWDD National News.
And Malacanang said President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is satisfied with the House of Representatives' decision to dismiss 2 impeachment complaints against him. Palos Press Officer Claire Castro said the President is satisfied with the process that took place in the House of Representatives. She added that Marcos was encouraged by the vote of 284 House members supporting the dismissal. Castro then emphasized that the President has no intention of dwelling on the issue and instead wants to move forward.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
And now let us hear more from Jhai about Apex 05-26 Acero participants boost environmental advocacy through river cleanup in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. Jhai?
The participants of the Archipelagic Coastal Defense Preparedness Exercise 0526 or ACERO conducted a clean-up drive in Bislac River in Barangay Buyan, Bacara, Ilocos Norte as part of their community engagement activities. The initiative brought together Philippine Marine Corps personnel and local stakeholders in a shared effort to promote environmental protection and community responsibility. Volunteers collected plastic waste, debris, and other pollutants along the riverbanks to help restore cleanliness and prevent further environmental degradation. While Exercise Acero primarily focused on enhancing coastal defense capabilities, interoperability, and operational readiness, activities such as the cleanup drive demonstrate that military training also goes beyond tactical preparation. This is Jay reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jayton.
DWDD National News.
And the Philippines and Oman are eyeing to conclude investment agreements that seeks to incentivize Omani businesses planning to invest in the Philippines. The Department of Foreign Affairs said that Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro underscored both sides' commitment to conclude investment agreements which aim to provide a more secure and incentivized framework for Omani investors looking forward to the Philippines. The DFA has yet to provide additional information when asked for details about the anticipated deals. Meanwhile, Omani Foreign Affairs Minister has signaled Oman's readiness to work closely with the Philippines in line with its national economic diversification agenda.
DWDD National News.
And the Department of Education is pushing forward a regional effort with its Southeast Asian counterparts to accelerate the use of artificial intelligence-driven digital infrastructure in basic education. Education Secretary Sonny Angara urged education leaders and development partners to advance AI readiness to ensure a quality basic education system in Southeast Asia. Angara added that a future-ready ASEAN cannot be built on guesswork or lofty rhetoric alone, as it must be grounded in the lived reality of the people. The education chief made the statement following the third regional policy convening of the AI Ready ASEAN program in Pasig City.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
And now we have updates from AMI about 122nd NCSSR enhances emergency preparedness through basic life support training in Baguio. AMI?
To strengthen emergency response readiness, the 122nd Naval Combat Support Squadron Reserve partnered with the Department of Health and the Baguio City Emergency Medical Service to conduct a basic life support training at Pine Room Baguio Country Club. The training focused on core life-saving skills, including CPR, airway management, and first response to cardiac arrest and other life-threatening emergencies. Participants engage in hands-on demonstrations and realistic emergency scenarios led by volunteers from BB, PCAG Deltans, Zigzag Base, and Kabalikat Civicom Baguio Benguet. The activities strengthen practical skills, situational awareness, teamwork, and adherence to establish medical and emergency response protocols. This is Amir reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Amy. From our reporter on the ground, let us hear the report of Jimboy about mediator troops deepen engagement with IP communities in Talaingod. Jimboy?
The acting commander of 60 Infantry Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Jesus L. Rosete Infantry, GSC Philippine Army, paid a formally courtesy call to the tribal leader of Talaingod at Barangay Santo Niño, Talaingod, Davao del Norte. The engagement focused on reinforcing the partnership among the Philippine Army, the municipality of Talaingod, the indigenous people structure, the Bagani leaders, and the indigenous people mandatory representative of the same municipality. The dialogue served as platform to discuss the shared goal of peace, security, and the preservation of the ancestral domain. Following the formal discussion, the activity transitioned into a community outreach effort wherein mediator troopers facilitated in rice distribution for the IP families represented at the gathering. The provision of this essential supply highlight the battalion commitment to humanitarian assistance, particularly in remote areas where logistical support is most needed. This is Jimboy reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jimboy.
DWDD National News.
And for our final news, the DOST FIVOX has recorded the largest pyroclastic density current or PDC since January. This caused heavy ashfall that has affected 32 barangays in Kamalig and Ginubatan, Albay. However, FIVOX Supervising Science Research Specialist Paul Carlson Alani said there is no observed indication to warrant a higher alert level, adding that alert level 3 remains over the volcano. He added that are still looking at some possibilities and some parameters.
DWDD National News.
And that's all for today's broadcast. Thank you for joining us, especially to our audience in our DWDD AFP Radio Facebook page. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for more updates. Same time, same station. Again, this is Jhai Simbajon for AFP Community News. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Behold the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rob Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas.